Christian, we've journeyed near and far, and we are at the end of the classic 2D Sonic games.
Yes.
And how does that make you feel?
Does Melancholy count?
Yes.
Okay. Probably Melancholy.
Okay. Why?
Because this is the last good Sonic game till Sonic Mania, right?
Yes, the museum mode is awesome. No, that's Sonic Jam. What's Sonic Mania? That's the... I'm getting these all confused. That's the new
You
one.
are. You're succumbing to Sega's
This is crazy.
Sonic Onslaught. This definitely felt like two games almost. I mean, they're obviously using the same general assets, but it definitely felt like there was some kind of shift as soon as I got to Mushroom Hill Zone.
Yeah, the first half feels like a Sonic game. Like through and through, and then once you get to Mushroom Hill Zone, things get a little weird, but not in a bad way, I don't think.
Yeah, you don't really have a Green Hill Zone here. You've got an Angel Island Zone, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
No,
I just played this game. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Kristen, I just played this game.
Did ya?
Yes. Okay.
That doesn't
That's the one
bode
that
well.
starts on fire, right?
If you forgot it so soon,
It's great. It's a great game.
doesn't bode well.
Yeah. No, it's cool because immediately they're like showing you like, hey, this is a step up because it's not just like Green Hill Zone 1 and 2. It's like they burn this forest down.
Yeah, that stuff's kind of rad. The act level transitions are really cool.
Yeah.
How they just kind of seamlessly go into the next one, which was a first at this point.
I mean, it feels a lot less like in 1 and 2 where it's like, okay, these are the same level, sort of just kind of split into multiple areas. And this feels like there's actual progression within each world, which is really cool.
Yeah. But you got a Sonic game here. It's pretty solid. I don't know. You see, I mentioned this to you before. I don't know if it's my nostalgia or what the deal is, but I just feel like something here isn't clicking or firing on all cylinders the way Sonic 2 was.
This, I feel like, it fits right into the platformer theory I have, where it's like, okay, you have the first one. And then you have the second one, which is better and bigger. And then the third one, they're like, let's make it even bigger. And they go too far, and it's like, oh my god, this is kind of a mess. And it's too long, and there's too many characters, and there's too much going on. There's cool ideas. It's the Spyro 3 of the Sonic franchise.
It's a Sonic Adventure 3?
It's the Sonic Adventure 3 of the Spyro franchise.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sonic 3 and Knuckles does not hold up to what Sonic 2 was doing. It is flashier and it is more expensive looking and sounding. It feels like they wanted to go out with a bang, but I feel like if you want to sit down and enjoy a Sonic game, 2 is where I would go. Still.
Yeah, 2 is awesome.
Yeah. I like a lot about 3 and Knuckles, but like Mushroom Hill Zone? Mushroom Hill Zone?
Yeah.
That's a very interesting aesthetic for a platformer level, especially in a Sonic game where it's like this autumnal forest and it's very strange and it feels like a PS1 platformer. Like it feels ahead of its time a little bit.
Yeah, it's super weird how you just kind of, you quote unquote defeat Eggman or whatever, but he gets away or whatever happens because you have Sonic 3 and Knuckles plugged in, and then you're just, boom, here's this autumn zone called Mushroom Hill Zone, and then you've got these leaves falling and everything's like a very different color palette from any other Sonic level. I tended to like the second half a bit more because they kind of do this weird stuff with the levels. They tend to vary things up a lot more than they have in the past.
Do you just mean like the way they look or like that way they play?
Yeah, I guess a little bit of both. They have like a couple of new mechanics thrown in there, as well as kind of taking you to locales that don't necessarily look like they were just copy-pasted from a different Sonic game.
They do a lot with narrative in a strange way, where there's a lot more cutscenes going on in this game, which, don't get me wrong, there's absolutely no story in this game. Like, there are cutscenes, and there is one in particular that I absolutely hate, which is that you defeat a boss and then you hop in Dr. Robotnik's little hovercraft thing.
Yeah.
And then you very slowly kind of move across the screen for like a minute, and then there's another boss fight. And if you lose that boss fight, you have to do that all over again. And
Yep.
it is not telling you a story. It is moving you across the sprite in the background, or, you know, basically just like a level background. I feel like that is my takeaway from the narrative of this game, is lots of you looking at something in the background while nothing else is happening. And
Yeah.
then at the end, it doesn't pay off in any way because it's the same ending that any Sonic game has. The only difference being you have this other antagonist, Knuckles, who experiences a change 3/4 of the way through where you realize he's a good guy, and then he
Yay.
disappears, and he has a really creepy, really creepy sprite of him on all fours, like panting.
Oh.
That made me
yeah.
really uncomfortable.
Oh man.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of momentum in that moment, though, I feel like, narratively, in a way that no Sonic game has had, where Robotnik comes and steals the emerald, and then there's, like, robots raiding this, like, sanctuary, and you're, like, it feels like you're escaping from it. In that moment, you can see the dream of what, like, a narrative-focused Sonic game would be, but I don't feel like it's in any of the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think like you were saying earlier, they definitely tried to go bigger and better with this being the third Sonic game, because you got, like you said, the narrative, you got the more seamless level transitions, you've got like this Knuckles narrative that's going along simultaneously with the Eggman narrative, and then you've got, this definitely feels like it fits into the 2D Sonic games, and it feels like a 2D Sonic game. It doesn't feel like just another Genesis game.
No.
But it doesn't feel like the best 2D Sonic game.
Okay. This is coming out after Sonic CD.
Yes,
And
long after.
I know we don't completely agree on Sonic CD, but to me that was like the pinnacle of the idea of what a Sonic game could be. Where it was like built on speed and stuff. And then you have this game, which is kind of a slightly less interesting Sonic 2 for the first half, I would say.
Yeah.
And then the second half is more interesting, like much more interesting, but it also feels less like a Sonic game. Like, you have the Egyptian level where it's kind of got this like interesting timer system where you have to keep the lights on so that the ghosts don't attack you, but you also have to move these little switches, and then that kind of creates these like gated moments where you're fighting against this like really annoying loud banging sound, which is cool. And that doesn't feel like a Sonic game to me, but it feels like it was more enjoyable and it was more interesting to me than the Sonic 3 chunk of Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt that the second half just seemed to be intrinsically more entertaining than the first half.
Yeah. As far as the excess goes, I just want to complain about something, which is that Sonic has a built-in system where if you get hit, doesn't necessarily mean you die. So I don't understand in this game why there's so much emphasis on these shields you can pick up, because the point of the shield is to protect you in case you get hit, so you don't die, but that's what the rings are for. So why is there a shield? Christian, thoughts?
To give you one more hit.
Some of them, they give you like powers. They give you very specific powers that you can use in very specific situations.
Yeah, and you're invincible to a very specific element.
Right, and it makes some boss fights easier.
Trivial.
Yeah. Why?
Gosh, I don't know.
It just feels like one of those things where it's like, it contributes to this idea that this game is just full of things because it's bigger and badder than Sonic 2.
Yeah.
Like how there's 4 different bonus stages.
Yeah, this is the one where you got the blue balls.
Those kind of grew on me by the end. And once I realized that you get a continue from it if you get enough rings, so it's got this like secondary value.
You see, I did one like midway through where I was just going around, you know, making blue balls red. And then apparently there was one section of balls that apparently I made impossible for me to get the rest in.
Right.
And there was no way for me to know that other than just trying not to die for a while and then realizing it and then killing myself.
Yeah. Was it where it's like a little 2x2 section, and if you do all of them then you lose because there's no way
Yeah,
to...
that was probably it.
Yeah. trial.
Whatever.
and error. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But like,
Yeah, there's worse things.
the slot machine one is terrible.
Yeah, that one's not very good.
It's not like you're gambling. You don't put anything in.
No.
You just sit there and wait for the random thing to go, and it's like, oh, now you died because you got robot rings. Well, you don't die, but you lose all your rings, which is the whole point of in there is to get rings.
Yeah.
Very
What can you do,
confused.
you know? You gotta get that Skinner box hit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one with the orbs is
The one with the
hilarious
orbs.
to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's
Yeah,
one
I do, yeah, where
every
you like
so often
spin
where it's just-
around and then you gotta jump on the
where
next
it's
one.
just energy orbs that would just fall immediately every single time, and it would be like 1 second of bonus stage.
Yep.
It was bad.
But you like the balls one.
I like the balls one. I like the one with the kind of the capsule machine where you have to like hit the lever and then it spins and it shoots out like a power up. It's cute.
Yeah, that one's fine.
It's alright.
Inconsequential.
Yeah, it's fine. But I don't think there needed to be 4 different bonus stages.
Yeah, it's weird. It's probably because there's a Sonic and Knuckles in here also, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's strange where it's like, okay, you got the Chaos Emeralds and now you have to get them again.
That's kind of weird. I guess
Yeah.
they had to make it happen somehow, because I'm guessing there was some kind of hardware limitations.
But do you, and this is wild speculation, this was originally planned as, you know, a single game. Do you think they
Yeah.
were like, okay, halfway through they'll get different Chaos Emeralds, or was it just like this weird system they had to bolt on because they realized they had 2 separate games?
I would have to assume they just kind of bolted it on. I'd assume that after they were given more time and figured out that they could just section this off into its own Sonic 3 and Knuckles thing,
Yeah.
they probably put a little bit more development time into the Sonic 3 and Knuckles thing to make it seem more fleshed out like its own thing.
Right.
And then the Chaos Emerald thing came with it, I'd assume.
Yeah. I hate the Chaos Emerald system. I still think it's garbage. But
It's garbage.
it just don't
Just gotta
punish
get
the
good at the
person for
bonus
playing
stages,
your
dude.
game. It's dumb.
Yeah, you get to the end and he wags his finger.
Can you think of a default or like a game where the default ending is a bad ending?
Abe's Odyssey, I think.
Oh, really? Oh,
I think
that
if you
sounds
don't
boring.
rescue
Yeah,
all the Medokins, you get a not very good ending.
that's kind of funny.
And that was a PlayStation 1 generation game.
Yeah. So Sonic 3 blazing new trails. Well,
Yeah.
so it doesn't have a bad ending, but you don't get to do like the actual boss fight at the end, which is dumb. But
Yeah, it is really weird.
like, there's a mural of this boss fight, and you don't even get to experience it, which I guess is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
They get to tease you a little bit.
yeah, but
It is pretty rad though. Sonic 3 is pretty alright.
yeah. What's I've been talking a lot. What's your big takeaway here, Christian? What's the did it speak to you?
My big takeaway is I think it's a really good Sonic game, but
Yeah.
it's way better than Sonic 1. They
Yes.
obviously, they didn't really take a whole lot of steps back,
No.
but they maybe took steps to the side and they kind
Yeah.
of, they just didn't recapture the magic of Sonic 2 or Rystar.
Yeah, I don't know. Any closing thoughts on Sonic?
Yeah,
3?
nothing comes to mind. Nothing
Yeah.
comes to mind. I think you probably forgot most of this game for a reason,
Yeah.
but you didn't forget the second half.
Yeah. That's putting it well, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, well,
So,
do you wanna...
do you feel like it's not as good as Sonic 2? That's what I feel like.
I agree, so we can
Okay.
put it below that
Do you
line.
think it's better or worse than Company of Heroes?
I would say... How do you feel about that?
How I'm feeling is in between Heroes and Metroid Prime.
I think that's a good
That's a good spot for me. Yeah, you think
Yeah.
that's a good spot?
Yeah, it's kind of at that line of like, good game.
Yep.
It's good. It's good. It's like a
Yes.
good game.